What's up, guys? How's it going? We are back with another video, and this time it's just to talk about some of the new cards that are coming out during spoiler season. Of course, man, this is a great time, especially if you're a vampire fan like myself. Man, I'm so excited about some of these new cards. So recently we have seen a new Anje Falconrath, which will be on screen. But then there is also a new legendary vampire by the name of Straphon or Straphon? I don't know. But this guy looks interesting. Looks like he might be one of the legendaries that's either in the pre-con. Maybe this might be a prelude, like a preview of the pre-con itself, or he might be like the curse commander that was in the set but also had the commander pre-con logo on her, so who knows. But today we're just going to talk about these cards and just what they do and just what we can figure out what to do with them really quick. Not really going to have a structure, just going to just like freestyle it right off the top of my head. So first off, I want to talk about Straphon because this dude looks awesome. He was previewed probably, I don't even know where it was he was first posted, but I saw it on Polygon, and that's where I saw the post about a bunch of new cards that were leaked. So Mythic Spoilers hasn't uploaded it yet, but I'm pretty sure they will within the next couple hours or even by the morning. So Straphon, Mauler Progenitor, is a 4-drop vampire, 2 colorless, 1 black, 1 red, legendary vampire creature, legendary creature vampire noble, sorry. He has flying, and at the beginning of your end step, create a blood token. So the blood tokens are a new mechanic similar to clue tokens, treasure tokens, etc. So create a blood token for each player who lost life this turn. I think this is really cool. But what he does next is even better. When Straphon attacks, you may sacrifice 2 blood tokens. If you do, you may put a vampire card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. It gains indestructible until the end of turn. That is really awesome. We just did a deck tech with Winota as the secret commander, and this follows the same suit except for humans. It's for vampires. Sacrificing these new blood tokens, putting a vampire from your hand to the battlefield. And if you've seen the new Olivia, which we covered in a video already, doing sort of a quick take on how we would build around her, I think this guy might be a really good vampire commander. So far, just from what we've seen, I'm really impressed with this guy. I really like him as a front commander. It would probably be better to have someone at the front who makes more tokens. We'll see what happens as the set gets released for Crimson Vows, but right off the bat, I'm just really impressed with Straphon. I'm really excited, and I want to get all my stuff together and just start building. But next, let's talk about Anje Falconrath. So Anje, Maid of Dishonor. Something interesting. This is just my speculation so far. I don't know the story. The story hasn't really been released yet, but Anje is back. And I remember in the wizard story that I think it was Olivia who destroyed Anje's entire house. So in Innistrad, they have houses. If you've watched Underworld, there are different houses for different vampire nobles. Those who have ascended to become leaders, they have their own houses, and those under their house have similar properties or similar identities or identifying qualities of their house. So House Markov, of course, the founding vampires. So Edgar and Soren are the 2 lords. Of course, Edgar is the original vampire of Innistrad, and Soren is his grandson, the second vampire in Innistrad history. Olivia is somewhere in those people after Soren to be converted into a vampire, and then Anje is also somewhere in there. There was an old card of her. I don't know if I can find it. If I don't edit it in, I'm sorry, but there was a card where it was like something of Falconrath, where she was shown as an early card. But Anje rose to become the leader of House Falconrath, and when she approached Olivia with I think she wanted to like increase the house's rank or merge with a more powerful house, something like that. She proposed something. Olivia was not having that and slaughtered House Falconrath and drove Anje mad, and then eventually killed her, from what I read from the old stories. I don't know if they're still canon or not, but that's what I read from the Wizards website. So Anje died, but now she's back. And if you look at the card for Olivia, it says that she's trying to, in the flavor text, says she's trying to revive the vampires and bring them under, her, pretty much under one banner, which is her. So I'm wondering if Anje, now being Maid of Dishonor, was revived, since she's no longer a noble, because under the new rules she would be a noble because she was the leader of House Falconrath. Just speculations, like I said, just from what I've noticed. Since we have no flavor text for Anje, we're just gonna have to wait for a story to be released. I hope I'm right. I hope she got revived. But anyway, let's get into her stats. Anje, Maid of Dishonor, is a 4-drop vampire, 2 colorless, 1 black, 1 red, legendary creature vampire. And whenever Anje, Maid of Dishonor, and or one or more other vampires enter the battlefield under your control, create a blood token. There we go, blood token again. This ability triggers only once each turn. So if you have Flash, Vidalcan Ori, or some other way to bring in creatures on your opponent's turns, if you can do this every turn, each one of your opponent's turns back to your turn, you can get a blood token. And of course, there are ways to copy this effect with, Panharmonicon, etc., etc. Let me see. So pay 2, sacrifice another creature or a blood token. Each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. All right, so for the blood token, we have a little bit of direction here. For the blood token, it says it's an artifact with pay 1, tap it, discard a card, sacrifice this artifact, draw a card. So it seems like the blood tokens themselves seem to be Anje Falconrath's effect, like how she had her madness effect, where she was, discarding cards and then drawing a card. So this is really good draw. I mean, you have to pay the 1 to sacrifice the blood token, but overall that might be really easy to do with cards like Black Market. If you have a Black Market and you can get a whole bunch of mana, you might be able to just be able to do this. Or what is it, Cryptghast will double up your swamps, and there's a vampire that does it. I'll put it up on the screen. I can't remember her name. Oh my god, she was one of my favorite vampires when I first started playing Magic. Anyway, she's up on the screen. But I really like this effect. Anje would be a really good commander. I like how she hits all of your opponents for 2 life and you gain 2 life. So you have a lot of life gain, life loss synergies, plus a lot of token strategies. So if you're able to copy tokens or double up tokens, or like I said with Panharmonicon, doubling those tokens when another vampire enters the battlefield, it'll trigger twice. Or even copying them somehow, that would be a really good way to sort of just drain out your opponents, hitting them for 2 constantly. Or if you're able to no, you can't proliferate them. But yeah, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but you're getting a draw engine out of this, so she might be really good. It seems more of a fair draw engine than just tap her, discard a card, draw a card, and then if it has madness, untap her. So this might lead into more stuff. Of course, there's also Flavian. I think that's how you pronounce dude's name. The recent vampire that kind of looked like a discount Edgar Markov. You know who I'm talking about. He's on screen. Flavian also seemed to care about opponents getting hit for damage and looking at the top X of cards. I'll put him up on the screen. He was a Vampire Noble with first strike, and at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the total number of life opponents lost this turn. Exile one of those cards, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You may play the exiled card this turn. So if you want to see that card in action and you haven't seen it, Josh Lee Kwai made a deck around Flavian and Dragon's Approach. It was a pretty cool idea, but for Anje, Maid of Dishonor, this seems really cool. Like, I'm really liking this effect. I'm liking the way she looks too. She looks freaking awesome. Can't wait for a higher resolution of this card, because I really want to look at it, look at the art, and see what's going on around her. I think those are blood tokens that are surrounding her, where it looks like she's either outside or some portion of the destroyed castle. I don't really know, but other cards that have these blood tokens that have recently come up is Gluttonous Guest. Gluttonous Guest is a 3-drop vampire, 2 colorless, 1 black, non-legendary. When Gratuitous Guest enters the battlefield, create a blood token. So there we go again with Panharmonicon synergies. When you sacrifice a blood token, you gain a life. So obviously we have maybe some blink mechanics with this. Even with Anje, you'd be able to make 2 blood tokens. And then let's go back to Straphon again and look at him real quick. At the beginning of your end step, create a blood token for each player who lost life this turn. So that combos with Anje, where if you're sacrificing blood tokens, you're hitting all of your opponents for 2 life, which means with Straphon, you're creating blood tokens at the end of your turn. Well, at the beginning of your end step, which is not too bad. It gives you something for the next turn. I see he's more restricted towards your end step, but at least when he attacks, you're putting more vampires on the field from your hand. So if you want to put Olivia in the 99, the new Olivia, you can have her enter the battlefield tapped and attacking, which gets past her cost of being 6. But this also helps for other vampires, high cost vampires that may be sitting in your hand, like Butcher of Malakir, which is a 7-drop, for example. So Gratuitous Guest definitely is going to be a good card, and I'm really interested in this blood token mechanic. As a Melvin player myself, seeing a mechanic like this where I can start to incorporate different things really gets my gears going. So like mentally, I am just all in right now. And then next, the card I want to talk about last is Volaan Bloodcaster. Volaan Bloodcaster is a 2-drop vampire wizard, 1 colorless, 1 black, has flying, and whenever Volaan Bloodcaster or another non-token creature you control dies, create a blood counter. And again, another way to make more blood counters. So before I continue, I want to say, like, seeing how Volaan Bloodcaster and Gratuitous Guest kind of pair off of each other, if you're playing something where you can constantly get back creatures, and I would use what's her name as an example. She'll be up on the screen because I'll be able to think of it by the time I edit this. The dungeon Esper, the Esper dungeon commander. I had made a video about her and about how she could get creatures to the graveyard, get bonuses, bring them back to the field. That's something that I would look into, a way to maybe with like Ashnod's Altar, sacrifice the Gratuitous Guest, Volaan Bloodcaster triggers, and then have a way, with either Olivia attacking or Drana drawn, not the Liberator one, but the Drana from Zendikar Rising, which will be up on the screen, have it a way where they can bring Gratuitous Guest back, so that when Gratuitous Guest re-enters the battlefield, it's making another blood token, and then Anje is making another blood token. So you have like this interesting mechanic that's circles around itself, which I'm finding very interesting. I'm really loving this blood token mechanic already. I'm not even caring about the fact that I have to pay 1 to sacrifice it, because there are other ways to sacrifice the blood tokens. Of course, it would be great to have the draw, and I think in red and black that's pretty good as a draw, where we had clue tokens before, which was pay 2 to sacrifice. Oh god, I forgot. Forgot right off the top of my head. But just looking at this blood token, pay 1, discard a card, draw a card, sacrifice the artifact. You're discarding, so you're getting creatures into the graveyard, fueling up your graveyard for Olivia and Drana to bring those creatures back to the battlefield. I'm seeing a nice cycle of value. And then of course the bonus effects. So getting back to Voldarian Bloodcaster, she does have a flip side, which I have to find, so there might be a jump in the edit. Whenever you create a blood token, if you control 5 or more blood tokens, transform Voldarian Bloodcaster. And I'm going to take a second to try to find the backside. And we're back. But yeah, this is pretty freaking cool, and I'm gonna read the backside, which will be up on the screen right now. Bloodbat Summoner is the backside of this card. So once you've transformed her, she has flying. She's still a vampire wizard, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, up to 1 target blood token you control becomes a 2/2 black bat creature with flying and haste, in addition to other types. So now you can weaponize these blood tokens and start attacking people with them, which is pretty freaking crazy. Like, I love that. I love the art of this card too. Like, I'm not a historian or anything, but the art just looks pretty cool. Looking at her from before she transformed, where she was kind of like, yes, take these blood tokens for all, to the backside where she's like, blood tokens for everyone, and they're going crazy, probably attacking humans or whoever's left, or angels, since we've seen Sigarda and that interaction. But this is just awesome. Like, I'm really loving these cards, and Mythic spoilers confirm that Straphon is going to be in the new Commander Precon. So the 2 Commander Precons are vampires and spirits. I really want to cover that new Spirit Commander. I might just do it, but for now, Straphon and Anje, I am just loving these 2 and what they offer. I'm loving this new blood token mechanic, and how it's literally just everything I wanted from vampires. I want vampires to be aggressive, but I also want them to be threatening. With all the new media coming out, it's kind of just always been weird to me that vampires were kind of just treated as undead creatures with little more aggression, where they were more like zombies. And I've always had this rant about vampires, which I'm saving you guys from because it's a long rant. But like I've said before, I really love when it comes to forms of media like Underworld, where they showed all the sides of vampires, where you had the aristocrats, you had the hunters, you had people like Victor, who were, like no nonsense, stuck in their beliefs, but also wanted to take action. You had, Mike, the Covenus brother, and all this stuff. Like, I think Underworld did a really good job of portraying this world of darkness, per se, into a form of media where I just fell in love with it. The first movie was great, but I really wanted that from the vampires in Wizards, Magic the Gathering, because I really do love vampires. I'm a big fan of vampires. I'm a big fan of hunting aggressive vampires. Kind of like the Bruja in, the actual world of darkness. But man, like, these cards look amazing. These new mechanics look amazing. I'm really hoping I can get Straphon and Olivia and Anje and Drana. Like, I already see the deck that I'm building in my head, and I'm just like, yes, I can't wait to put this together. My friends are gonna hate me. They already called me, cursing me out already. So and talking about how much they hate this, and I'm like, yes, thank you, Wizards, thank you. Finally, I'll be able to build the vampires I've always dreamed of. But anyway, guys, this is just the beginning of preview season. Of course, the Crimson Vows are gonna be pretty good if you're a vampire fan. I don't know about the other stuff yet. We do see some new werewolves that have been spoiled, and of course follow all the other channels for everything that's coming out. I am actually going to try to put together a deck using the new vampires before they come out, or at least like a deck list, just to see what I can really do with them. And I'm just really excited. I might keep it 2 colors with red and black, or I might go Edgar. I don't think I really want to go Edgar, just because I don't know. Wait. Can we, just before we close this out, did anything say non-token creature? Was it the front side? Yeah, Voldaren Bloodcast did say non-token, so Edgar's not gonna trigger that one. But we do have a lot of interesting synergies. Anje does not say non-token creature. It just needs to be a vampire entering the battlefield. So as far as that goes, this is exciting. I'm super excited to see more previews. I hope you guys are too. I hope we get more good stuff. Hopefully we get another good multicolored werewolf commander. I mean, Tovlar was really good, but he was just 2-colored. I really want to see 3-color werewolves. They introduced blue and black and white werewolves in Midnight Hunt with no commander for them other than Morphon. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Man, this preview season is gonna be lit.